Well, good morning. My name is Mary Chandler, and I am the chairman of the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee. I'm also the head of corporate responsibility at Cummins and the head of the foundation. I'm here actually with my hat on as the chairman of the Progress Committee. Thank you for attending this morning. I'd like to go through a few important thank yous. Please hold your applause, but by not applauding, I don't want you to think that every single one of these people is not worthy of a great round of applause. So first, I'd like to thank Faegre, Baker & Daniels, and especially Murray Clark for serving as the sponsor of this event. Charles Whistler was a partner at Baker & Daniels, the name of the firm back then, and we're grateful that the firm continues to honor Mr. Whistler's memory. Thanks to Beth White and Lindsay Sipes of the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee. They put this whole thing on, and they're super effective. I'm always impressed. Thank you to Ivy Tech Sue Elsperman and Chancellor Lee for your hospitality hosting us here today. We all know that the Ivy Tech serves as a very important education link in our state. Our partner level sponsors are Fairbanks, Glick Philanthropies, and Yvonne Shaheen. Associate sponsors are Butler University, Ivy Tech, IUPUI, the Mind Trust, One America, and Wish TV. Thank you to you all. To our public servants, thank you for your service. You could all be working many fewer hours and earning more money in the private sector, so thank you for your contributions. City County President Bob Ostley, Councilor Lakeisha Jackson, Councilor Jefferson Shreve, welcome. And welcome to the staff of Mayor Hogsett and the mayor himself, from whom we will hear a bit later. Good morning, former Mayor Ballard. Thank you for coming. Aren't you glad you don't have to get up this early every morning these days? So thank you to you all, and a quick round of applause for all that you do for the city. As many of you know, the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee provides a nonpartisan forum in which leaders of the public and private sectors of Indianapolis can work as partners to study, discuss, and address issues of concern and areas of opportunity which affect the progress of the city. I have been so impressed with this group and how everyone on the committee really comes together to work so hard to advance what we do. Charles Whistler embodied the mission of the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee. Through his development of public-private partnerships and his ability to see solutions, Mr. Whistler personified the reason that Indianapolis has succeeded as a city. Charles Whistler's son, Phil Whistler, is here today, along with his granddaughter, Mary, neighbors, and friends. Welcome. At this point, we would like to welcome Pastor Nancy Lafferty of Entry Point Church, who will deliver the invocation, and then we will serve breakfast. Welcome, Pastor.
Please join me in prayer. God of all nations and all people, this morning you bless us with gifts of life and food, laughter, wisdom, and inspiration. Despite our many differences, you have gathered us around these tables in community. We are thankful for the labor of those who have made this morning possible. As we celebrate the accomplishments and the success of one person today, we are reminded to be helpful and generous in action and in word as often as we can. That we live in community with each other demands our continued compassion for our brothers and sisters. O God, pour out your grace upon us and enable each one of us to find and fulfill our calling in this world. Where we are ignorant, enlighten us. Where we are prideful, humble us. Where we are weak, strengthen us. and where we are broken, please heal us. Bless this food. Bless the people gathered here this morning. Thank you, God. Amen.
Since its establishment in 1965, the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee, GIPSY, has been the driving force behind the public-private partnerships that transformed Indianapolis into a world-class city. Early projects included development of Eagle Creek Park and the Downtown Convention Center, as well as the groundbreaking passage of unified city-county government known as Unigov. At the forefront of these accomplishments were GIPSY's early leaders, including attorney Charles L. Whistler. A native Hoosier, Whistler spent his entire career with the law firm now known as Faegre Baker Daniels. Throughout that career, Whistler generously volunteered his time and considerable talent to assist in improving Indianapolis.
Chuck was a great guy. He came off the farm, out of the farmland, so he understood working for the future, taking care of seed corn, building things, great work ethic, cared about others, saw solutions, understood problems and issues, but always was in the effort to try to build the solution, create the solution.
The Progress Committee came along with at least the thrust of leadership of some civic persons. Now, Chuck Whistler was among the group, but he became especially important because his legal skills led to the drafting, as I recall, of most of the legislation that we finally offered during the General Assembly of 1969.
As Chuck Whistler was assisting in the transformation of the city, the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee was gaining momentum as a bipartisan alliance of community leaders dedicated to improvement of the city. Today, GIPSY continues its role as a convener of thought, dialogue, and action aimed at improving Indianapolis and enhancing its image. With more than 100 members, GIPSY remains the driving force behind efforts that have made Indianapolis a world-class city. From improved race relations to cultural and arts programs to the new Eskenazi Hospital on the Wishart campus.
The Progress Committee has really covered the entire waterfront, I think, in terms of the development of Indianapolis. At the beginning, it was really the very structure of government. But for GIPSY, there wouldn't have been Unigov. Then we got into a bricks and mortar phase, which we've really continued over the years, extending from the convention center to most recently our advocacy for the building of a new hospital for the most needy of our community.
That has been the value of the Progress Committee and its leadership over the years, is to look at these community-wide issues with its broad-based membership and figure out the best way to get things resolved. That's what Chuck Whistler was all about. That's what the Progress Committee is all about.
In honor of Chuck Whistler's legacy, GIPSY leaders presented the first annual Charles L. Whistler Award in 1983. Today, the Whistler Award is the highest honor that can be bestowed on a citizen who has brought together Indianapolis's public and private sectors for city improvement.
When you receive an award from somebody who helped shape your life, it becomes very, very special. And Chuck Whistler was special to me, and winning the award made it even more special.
The award extends the recognition of the importance of the work that it represents, the importance of people trying to do leadership work that serves the best interests of the broader community, that takes on the challenges that need to be assumed, that provides imaginative and creative thought to the solutions of those problems. Chuck did all that, and it extends the recognition of the importance of that. And then obviously the anchor to it is the public-private nature of the recognition of the award. People working across sectors of the community to try to make things better for everybody.
The name of each recipient of the Whistler Award is engraved on a bronze and granite monument located in the Charles L. Whistler Memorial Plaza outside the city market. As Indianapolis continues to develop, the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee looks forward to presenting the Charles L. Whistler Award to those individuals who follow in Chuck Whistler's footsteps as servant leaders, inspiring others to dedicate their time and talents to the success of this great city.
I know the Glick family for almost 30 years, and her dad was my mentor. Met Marianne through her dad, Gene, and Mom, and Marianne and I are very close friends. She reflects a lot of her dad's values and stuff, which is amazing. And Marianne, an artist, you know, an advocate for teens and young adults through TeenWorks. She takes on the head of the Glick Foundation and contributing to the community. And Marianne has more energy than most people, half her age. And she continues to have a passion for Central Indiana, for Indianapolis. I mean, she's amazing.
Clearly, the Glick name is synonymous with philanthropy in Indianapolis. And Marianne has done a remarkable job carrying on Gene and Marilyn's legacy when it comes to philanthropy. She clearly learned from the best, and it's part of her DNA. Gene and Marilyn set up the Glick Family Foundation in 1982 and slowly, over time, built an incredible legacy of philanthropy in Indianapolis. And Marianne has had the incredible privilege to carry on their tradition. Marianne is not someone who just writes checks. She gets very, very passionate and very involved in the community. She's in the neighborhoods, she's in schools meeting with kids, she talks to our grant recipients. So she's not someone who just sits in a boardroom like this and makes decisions with the rest of us as board members. She's someone who really puts herself out there in the community and cares very deeply about the impact of the grants that we make. So Marianne is someone who's a very passionate person.
Marianne is a true visionary, and she's a person who certainly empowers women in the workplace, and so you can look from one not-for-profit to the next and find an empowered female leader that Marianne Glick has probably played a role in helping to get placed there. I see her visionary leadership and her relentless pursuit of helping young people succeed in our city through her work as my chairman at TeenWorks. And when I say she never gives up, there's no limits for her. She wants to make sure that those from underserved populations absolutely can get off to a great start, and she puts both her money and her heart in what we do.
She genuinely cares for the well-being of others. So like she put others before herself, and she goes beyond what she's supposed to do. And so that's what I feel like for people who doesn't know her should know that she cares, like genuinely cares for others.
Marianne Glick has really created opportunities for teens, especially through TeenWorks. She is still supporting the mission of TeenWorks, and I just want to say she's really special because she's made a difference in me, and I know that I can always go back to her for anything and if I ever need any help or advice or guidance.
My son noticed one day we were on the Monon, saw Glick. We're on I-65 and he sees this child care daycare center, Glick. Dad, do you know anyone in this Glick family? And I say, yes, I do. And it was a reminder for me of how much of the city has been impacted by the Glick family. And more specifically with Marianne's leadership of that legacy of just serving the community well, meeting the needs of our students and our families, but also just ensuring that those that are in need are getting the resources accordingly. And not only has that work transcended across TeenWorks, but it's touched other areas in IPS as well and other places in the community. And so it's a name that you see often. I know it's a name that she's very proud of. And you can clearly see that in her work.
She is a go-getter, and she's proven that she could take a topic or a cause and make it into something that is beneficial to the community. She actually takes a program and goes with it and makes it successful. So I admire that more than anything. It's so important that people who feel lucky and privileged give back, because there are many people in need. And that's one of the things I admire most about Marianne, because she knows. she's been taught, so have I, to give back.
Marianne is a leader that I very much admire, and her deep, deep care and determination to help our youth be engaged in the world of work, to be successful in that world, but in their educations. More recently, as I became president of Ivy Tech, I had the opportunity to have her want to be a trustee for Ivy Tech because she knew the work we do at Ivy Tech is exactly the continuation of the work she's doing with TeenWorks. And that shared commitment and mission to ensure that every one of our youth, no matter what zip code, no matter what their background, they have the opportunity to succeed in our community. And no one embodies that commitment better than Marianne.
This year we celebrate the contributions to the city of a civic leader who happens to be a woman. Marianne Glick embodies many things, including strong female leadership in Indianapolis. Our mayor, Joe Hogsett, has already done a lot to increase diversity in our city because he knows that diversity is not only the right thing to do, but the smart thing to do. I'd like to welcome to the stage Mayor Joe Hogsett to say a few words about our honoree. Thank you, Mary. You're welcome.
Well, good morning. This is one of my favorite days of every year, when we come together not only to acknowledge and recognize the contributions of a very deserving recipient, but we actually come together on days like today to celebrate Indianapolis and how far we've come as a community. So thank you all for joining us today. Thank you to the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee for all that you do on our city's behalf. And I'd also like to add my thanks to Fagry Baker Daniels for serving as this morning's title sponsor and helping us to continue this impressive legacy of an award that is only given to our city's finest leaders. Today we honor a woman who has established herself as an essential part of so much that is Indianapolis, Marianne Glick. Her name will join others on the Charles L. Whistler Award and its monument at our city market. The Whistler Award was founded to honor those residents who take it upon themselves to lead the way to a better city, a better Indianapolis for everyone. Marianne will join names like McAllister, Shaheen, Ephraimson, and like all of those former recipients, Marianne Glick has been a positive force for our city in so many ways. She's been the founder of the Executive Women's Training Program, chair of the board for the Eugene and Marilyn Glick Family Foundation, and president of the board for TeenWorks. A true philanthropist and selfless volunteer, Marianne has given countless hours of her time to more than 20 local organizations. After 25 years with Glick Training Associates, Marianne retired. And now she's working harder than she ever did. She was looking for a winter hobby, and she took up painting. Why? Nobody explained to Marianne that she could just winter in Florida, that's a mystery to me. But nevertheless, she took up painting and painting beautifully. Her work has entered juried competitions in and outside of Indiana, and you will find many of her paintings throughout our city, not-for-profits around our city, in full display. And I'm so glad that we were able to share some of her outstanding work with all of you today. Reading a complete list of Marianne's charitable, philanthropic, and other civic accomplishments would be redundant. And frankly, it might depress some of those of us who consider ourselves to be busy people. So I will forego such a list. But I will say this. She follows the path of a noble Indianapolis family. And she bears a noble Indianapolis name. The same sense of integrity and justice that spurred her parents to invest in our city is still alive and well in Marianne. Indeed, most, if not all, of her endeavors seek to build a more equitable world, one that alienates no one that forgets no one that diminishes no one. Because of that, because of Marianne, we live in a better Indianapolis today. And we will be a better Indianapolis tomorrow. So on behalf of a grateful city, Marianne, on behalf of every citizen of Indianapolis, I want to thank you for your incredible career and a life led in service to others. So, without further ado, I want to invite Marianne up to the stage, and I ask all of you to join with me in welcoming Marianne Glick. So proud of you. So proud of you. Very deserved.
Thank you so much. So you made me cry. So I'm going to start funny because that'll help me get over this. When Yvonne Shaheen called to say that I had won, to tell me about this wonderful honor, she said, well, I need to make sure that you're available on this date. And she said, it's November 13th, and you need to be there at 7:30. I go, oh, I don't need to look at my calendar. I am positive I have nothing at 7:30 in the morning on any day of the year. So Yvonne won this award many years ago, and I think it's because she gets up at 5:30. So she's way ahead of everybody else. Thank you. I want to thank Gypsy for this honor as well, and our family certainly has a long history with Gypsy. When my dad started Pro 100, which is now TeenWorks, Gypsy was the organization he went to oversee that program. So from 1981 to 91, Gypsy was the custodian and initiator of this program that helps at-risk youth find summer employment. So the program's been going on that long. I feel like I am one of the most fortunate people in our city to have the honor to continue my parents' legacy, to be able to think about the values that they represented, and to be able on a daily basis to think about the people and especially the children in our city, and to have in some small way an impact on them is such an honor and such a privilege. And it certainly isn't me alone by any stretch of the imagination that's doing this. As I look out into the audience, I see so many people who I have worked with over the last 30 years and who have all helped make this city so much better of a place to live. There's not a table I look at here where I have not worked with someone. And to think about being able to help in a small way, to when we have privilege, when we have the good fortune to have some money, some time, some energy to give, and to be able to lend a hand, lend some inspiration to someone that might not otherwise have that, is a real privilege, a real opportunity for us. And I look out and see, and I know that you all feel this way as well. I look at the table over here with my husband, Mike Woods, who has been just a joy and such a support, and always encouraging me in anything I want to do, and not going, gosh, I wish you were home a lot more, but saying, you know, I know this is important to you and you should do what's important to you, and that makes all the difference. To see the TeenWorks people here who are carrying on the work that was so important to my dad and is so important to me, and really right down there making sure all those kids get jobs and are well prepared to serve in our community and be wonderful employees. To look here at the Glick Company and the Glick Foundation, members of the team. Without them, none of this would happen. Kathy Lee, having the opportunity to serve on Ivy Tech's board and make a difference to students throughout our state. Without Ivy Tech, we will never get enough people to self-sufficiency, and Ivy Tech does this better, and I have never tried harder to get on a board in my life. As Deborah, I'm looking at Deborah, I talked to every Republican person I knew. It is not easy to get appointed by a Republican governor when you are not a Republican. I really lobbied for that spot. So thank you so much for this recognition. Thank you so much to all of you who have worked with me over the years. Thank you, Phil Whistler, for giving me the honor of hopefully representing your father in a way that he would be proud. And thank you all for your friendship. I want to close with, if I can read it, dry my eyes, Mike and I had dinner with Dennis and Sandy Sasso about a month ago, and he gave me his sermons from the Jewish high holidays. And there's a quote in here that I really love. He says, "So once again, I ask each of you to think of what are the terms, the ideals, the values that define you, to which you can say, 'This is who I am.' We need a sustained, respectful, thoughtful conversation that will renew, heal, and strengthen us as individuals and as people of a nation. We need to believe that we humans are partners of the divine in an ongoing process of creation, to believe that our highest human ideals can be realized in the world, to believe that we have the power to transform what is into what ought to be. I hope you will continue to work with me to make what is into what ought to be. Thank you so much." Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You know, you're giving an award to a woman invested with humility when she leaves the stage before accepting the award. In closing, thank you all for being here. I'd like to say one last thank you to the Whistler Nominating Committee, Murray Clark, Yvonne Shaheen, Bill Shrewsbury, and Deborah Daniels. You're such a delight to work with, and I hope you realize, everybody in the audience, how deeply this group of people cares about the city. Thank you all for caring about the city. Thank you for coming today. Congratulations, Marianne. We're so proud to work with you and among you. Thank you, Mayor Hogsett, and we'll look forward to seeing you next year.